Snow Treasure, Chapter 19. So that was what Helga heard and saw at the snake, this Nazi soldier. There could be no mistake. The trail he had taken could have come only from the snake. But from where he was, Peter could not see the soldier's face. But the cut of his uniform was unmistakable, and against its gray were the markings of his service corps. So they'd been spied on after all. Peter forgot to be afraid. He was only angry and sorry. To think that all their hard work had been for nothing. Just now he was so tired he could hardly make his feet move ahead. And what was he tired for, this night and every night? For the Germans who came in and took their country and said what they must do and not do, and what time they must be in their houses at night? Well, Peter resolved, they weren't going to have the gold, not if there was still a chance to save it. Uncle Victor would certainly have to be warned. But how? To find him at night would be impossible when Peter couldn't even find him in the daytime. He could leave his team in the Holmes' care that night. But to go back to the snake to look for his uncle was out of the question. There was the curfew for one thing, and Peter was so tired he could have lain right down in the snow and slept. Perhaps Herr Holm could help him. Maybe he could find Uncle Victor's boat. Or he could hitch up his sleigh and go to Ryswick and ask Peter's mother or Per Garson. But would he dare risk disobeying the curfew? He could get shot if he were caught. It said so in the notice on the school door. The Holmes had serious faces when Peter told of seeing the Nazi soldier on skis. "We're all in on this," Herr Holmes said. "If we're being trapped, I'm the first to face the firing squad. Night after night I harbor you children." But Peter thought he didn't seem much afraid. "Your mother will certainly have to be told," he decided. "The teams of Louisa and Michael will be starting out in the morning. We cannot let them be caught and the gold taken." "We could head them off when they pass here," Fru Holmes suggested. "But where could we hide the gold? It wouldn't be safe here, and there's no use having them haul it all that distance just to cart it back." "No, I'll have to talk it over with Fru Lundstrom. I'll go tonight." "Tonight? But you can't. There's a curfew," his wife spoke sharply. "I must. There's no other way. Fru Lundstrom will know what to do." "But you could be shot." "They'll have to catch me first. A sheet for me, Mama, and off I go." Over his heavy outdoor clothes he draped a sheet. It fell in folds from his shoulders to his feet. "Now a towel for the head." This he twisted into a turban. "Now do you think they'll know me from the snow?" They went outside with him while he strapped on his skis. "Lucky they're down on the beach, not up here. If I'm fortunate, I won't meet any Germans." "They could be in the woods, Papa." The good farm wife was anxious. "Then I'll hide." He took up his ski poles. "Well, I'm off to tell your mother about this spy," he addressed Peter. "She'll surely know some way to get in touch with your uncle." The next morning when Peter awoke, he was alone in the barn. The others had gone long before, Fru Holm told him. "We called them and sent them back to Ryswick as always. That far they could go without a leader." "But why was I allowed to sleep?" Peter wanted to know. "Papa brought word from your mother you're to stay here until she comes. We did not call you because you seemed so tired, and she won't be here till afternoon." "Then Herr Holm got through all right?" "They'd have to be smart to catch that slippery Norseman," she boasted. "He was at your mother's and back before midnight." Peter sighed in relief. So the Germans and their old curfew didn't mean much after all. But if he'd been caught, Peter shuddered. The penalty was posted on the school door. "Why am I to wait for Mother?" he asked. "She's going to look for your Uncle Victor. You're to go along in case we need to get in touch with him again. Papa and your Mama and Per Garson thought it best for you to go." So he would have to go back to the snake that very day and maybe face the commandant who wanted to make him his servant. Well, it didn't matter. Herr Holm was safe and Uncle Victor would be warned. That was all that counted. It was 1 o'clock when a bobsled turned into the farmyard. Pulling it was Peter's mother, and on it sat Bunny and 2 other small children. Bunny smiled all over to see his brother in the strange place. "Peter," his mother greeted him, "I'm glad you had a nice long rest." "But how are you going to find Uncle Victor?" he asked. "I have a chart of the snake right here." She tapped her pocket. "The Clang Pearson's marked with a cross. Uncle Victor left it in case we needed to know." You'll have to walk when you reach the beach, Peter warned. I don't know if these little fellows can walk all that distance. Then I'll pull 'em. I meant to, anyway. For the looks of it, Peter. Tomorrow and the next day Mrs. Berg and Mrs. Olson and some of the others are going to go down and take the babies. Peter understood. Anything to throw the Germans off the scent. For unless the spies already knew everything, no one would look for anything out of order from a woman with a sled load of children. We can carry a little gold, too, his mother said. Every bit counts, and this snow isn't going to last forever.